Hey guys, axonometric projection. This is activity 3, I think, off the PowerPoint. Shown in the photograph is a litter bin, and also included is the elevation and plan of the litter bin. The litter bin here, typical one you might see on the street. Elevation and plan here. Draw the isometric projection of the bin, having axes inclined as shown. So what they're saying there is that as we view the three walls of this room here, the two walls in the floor, this being the vertical plane, this the end vertical plane, and this guy here, the horizontal plane. As we view the three planes, we can see that the X, Y and Z axes reveal 120 degrees each, so it's isometric. This is probably the easiest of the three methods, a little bit easier than dimetric and trimetric, but really it's much the same thing. I've just added the dimensions there on the page. I'll just zoom in a little bit to see them. So I just added a few dimensions just that are on the PowerPoint slide. 60mm depth there in the plan, 65mm total width. This little step here is 10 by 10. 70, the angle height is 10 and the angle width is 10, so that's going to be 45 degrees, and then up 25. We'll draw the three axes. Again, the starting position is going to be right here in the center. We'll draw our X, Y and Z. We will view in along. One of the axes will project the view of what we can see under the trace. So, you know, just like the previous video really. There's one of the walls of the room there in red, and that's the EVP right there. Now, because this is it's one of the simpler drawings before we start bringing in complex curves and slopes and so on, I'm going to kind of focus on the theory behind it. I'm going to focus on the what am I seeing as a true shape, what am I seeing as an edge view, and I'm going to use this little color scheme to help me along the way. There's my two walls of the room in red and green. So the vertical plane, or just the vertical wall there on the right hand side, is in green. The vertical wall on the left hand side, the invertical plane, is in red, and the horizontal plane, or the floor, is there in blue. What will be added in there in a few minutes, of course, is the axonometric plane. And the axonometric plane and the portions of that plane that we will be able to see are going to look something like that. So that plane right there is what will give us the direction that we will see our view on. Of course, that plane is unlimited size, but that's just the intersection it makes with the three primary planes. And the angle of this plane is going to be, if we drop down from the y-axis, well, the trace here on the ground is going to be a perpendicular angle to the y-axis. If I project through my x-axis, this trace it makes right here on the invertical is going to be perpendicular to my x-axis. So the three traces of the plane are perpendicular to the corners of the room, or to the x, y and z axis, whatever way we want to talk about it. We drop the object into the corner of that room, we project our two required views, and we project back in to find our 3D view. I'm going to zoom out now in a second, put this sheet to the side. Hopefully you've taken your measurements, or else you might have them on your computer near you, and then we'll get started on this drawing. I'll pause the video for just a moment while I'm setting up. So guys, to return to this now, I've just set up my three axes, my X, my Y and my Z axis, somewhere around the center of the page here with the starting point of the axis. Now, because they are isometric, I could bring in my protractor and I could, you know, do what we would do in a trimetric or dimetric, measure down my 120, but I know that that will result in a line that's orientated here 30 degrees off my t-square, off my horizontal, and 30 degrees off my horizontal this way as well. So I can, when it's isometric, I can just bring my t-square and set square in and just draw two 30-degree lines. There's no dimension given, or no indication at all here as to how large they want the axonometric plane, so we'll just drop it in wherever we feel is right. I'm just going to pick a completely random position there I'll start off with the horizontal trace where it goes through the ground. As I said there at the beginning of the video, the axis is perpendicular to the trace, so in this case here, no sliding set squares required. 30-degree axis, 60-degree trace. And again, this axis, or sorry, this trace is perpendicular to this axis, and once again, 30-degree axis, 60-degree trace. So that's the three traces set up of this axonometric plane. Now it's time to figure out, on the ground here, on the horizontal plane, I want to get the true shape of the portion of the plane enclosed here within the trace and into the corner. So I need to just project down my trace and my corner. I'll change the pencil there, go a little bit heavier so that you can see it in video. Project down the right side of the trace, project down the left side of the trace, and I'll just, I'll leave the corner out for now. Actually, I won't bother with that just for a while. I'm going to pick a starting position then, and just again, it's random. You're just trying to make sure that it all fits on the page if at all possible. What I have there is, I have that green trace now. Okay, so that is the trace. What I want to do next is, I want to, as I said already, I want to find out this little portion of the floor that is inside the trace. So the portion of the floor in here, I want to find the true shape of that corner. And that's it. That corner, the corner of the room, is at 90 degrees. So what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for this triangle here on the floor that's inside the green traced line. So I want a 90-degree corner here. Best way to set up 90 degrees is using a semicircle. So I'll bisect my line. I'll bisect the line now. And from the bisected position right there, I'm going to just draw a constructed semicircle, nice and light. Keep it light now. This isn't part of the final drawing. It just helps us along the way towards the solution. Now, right back to the principle which I've learned back in early first year. Any triangle I draw using this green line as one edge, any triangle touching circumference is going to be a 90-degree triangle. And which 90-degree triangle do I want? I want the one that lines up with the axis, because that's the cornered room right there. So that's the triangle I want. I want this one right here and here. That's the triangle I want this time. I'm going to also, even though that is the perfect area within, I'm going to just extend it, because maybe the object is going to be a bit bigger than the plane. Don't forget, in this case here, the axonometric plane I dropped in, it is any size at all. So we don't know how big we need it. I assume that the object is going to be a bit bigger than this small area here. But the shaded area there in the axonometric is here. This is it as a true shape. So we're seeing a 90-degree corner, we're seeing a true shape of that small portion down the ground. Now, as we look down on top of the object, if we just bring our question back in, as we look down on top of the object, this is what we can see. We can see 65 along, 60 out, and the step in from each side is 10 and 10. So I'm going to draw that dropped into the corner here. So what we'll find here with and this will only work with isometric, what we'll find is that the sides of the room here, the walls are at 45 degrees, so it's quite handy. I'm going to measure along 65. I also know that there's a line at 10 and then it's minus 10, so 55. And the final point right here, it is 60, so that is just fitting on my page nice and tidy there. 60 mil out. And there's one edge of the object, the starting point. There's the line through, the line through, and the line through at the end. Right here. So that's the plan of the object. The plan of the object sits on the horizontal plane, the HP. I'm going to colour code these now. The horizontal plane, I had it in there in blue, so I'm going to just colour code this and just add in a little bit of blue outside the object. There's the floor, there's the ground right there. Now, hopefully this will help with understanding the structure of the drawing and where the planes are and where the relation between the 2D and the 3D. Now, there we are. What I also would like to add in here is, if I just look back to my drawing just a minute, in this view, when I look down on top of the object and I'm seeing the horizontal plane, I'm seeing the floor, I'm seeing it as a true shape. Well, in this view, I'm also able to see the two walls of the room. You know, they haven't disappeared. I need to be able to see them and note where they are. So I'll add them in now, next. And the walls of the room, well, the left wall here, the end vertical plane, is the red, and the right wall is the green. So I'm going to add them in here now on this. So the left wall is the red one, and that is going to be this one right here. That is an edge view of the left wall of the room. Down there. Okay, and the right wall of the room is out here. So I'll add that in green. Now, that is an edge view of the vertical plane, the VP. That is an edge view of the EVP, the end vertical plane, and that is a true shape. Of the HP, horizontal plane. So we have our three planes, the vertical, horizontal, and the end vertical in there, and we're seeing two edge views of the two walls of this room, and we're seeing a true shape of the floor when we look down on the plan. The corner of the room is at 90 degrees. Working up now. Okay, working up to our elevation now next. I'm going to follow the same structure again. I'm going to first of all have a look for, and I'll be getting rid of these colours after, just shading. This is the one I want now. I want the true shape of what sits right there under the trace. I'm going to look in along this axis here. So if I view in that angle, first of all I'm going to follow the same structure as last time. I'm going to take the top and bottom points on the trace. I'm going to pick a starting position, and again it's kind of hard to know here where exactly to start. This isn't a very big drawing, so we should be fine there. That line I just drew represents the trace of the object. So that is the trace, so parallel to the trace at 60 degrees. Once again, the corner of the room is a 90-degree angle, so I'm going to go ahead and bisect that line and draw my semicircle, which will give me every possible 90-degree triangle. Now that bisection point, just like down in plan, and use that bisecting point right there. Just check it first before I swing. That's pretty good. And swing my semicircle. Now that semicircle Once again, just to reiterate that point, that semicircle gives me every possible triangle that lies on the green line will be a 90-degree triangle. The one that I want is the one with this point here as the third point on the triangle. So there we are. Let's draw the triangle. So right there, it's one side, and up along here is the other. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the object in there. So this time I'm going to draw the full elevation of the object while sitting in this position. Okay, my heights up along here are 10 and 70 is 80. 70 is 80 and 10 is 90 and 25. So 10, 25. Just about staying on the page there. And I might just extend on that axis just a little bit. So lucky, just about staying on the page. The width's down here, 65, and then it's a 10 and a 55. What we'll notice is that the same widths here are here. So the 10, the 55 and the 65 are used here. 10, 55 and 65. I'm going to set up sliding set squares now. I'm going to line up with the angle of this wall here on the left. And I'm going to just go ahead and line everything in and see what's happening then after. See what has to line up and where the continuous detail comes in. I'll set up now in line with the ground, and I know where the detail is now, so I can start filling some of it in. Now, there's the elevation of the object. I'm just going to go ahead now and again just hopefully to help the understanding here. What are we seeing this time? So if we have a look back at the question sheet again at what we were asked, okay, we've just gone ahead and looked in along the Z axis right there. If you looked in along the Z axis, well, the floor is underneath. The object sits on the floor, which is blue. So right here at the base is going to be our blue, and that blue is edge view of the horizontal plane, the HP. The left hand side is going to be an edge view of the end vertical plane right here. So that's the end vertical plane there on the left and right. And the plane that we're able to see directly in front of us as a true shape is the VP, the vertical plane. Now, we can see a little bit of it here under the object, of course, where that corner has been cut out. I think that this little bit of colour helps so much in your understanding and visualization of what's happening in this topic. It's a really great topic to just get the colours out, add a little bit of colour to the drawings and see if it'll help the understanding, because there's no point in thinking of this as just a bunch of lines that happen to match up with each other in a view in the centre of the page. You have to understand what's happening. a few minutes ago when I was drawing this elevation here, I mentioned that the 10, the 55 and the 65 are the same as in plan. Now what we can now see, and I was waiting to get the colour to kind of further expand on this, what we can now see is this, okay? Down in plan, we took the 10, the 55 and the 65 from the end vertical plane. The 10, the 55 and the 65. They came from the end vertical plane, working towards the right hand side. Well, I've just done the very same thing up here. From the end vertical plane, which is again reference in red, from the end vertical plane we went our 10, 55 and 65. This little bit of understanding and this little bit of colour, really, the bit of colour here is just such a huge thing, because it might just help you to start referencing between the views and seeing where the links are, and seeing that the same planes are shown in the same views. In one view we see a true shape of one plane and an edge view of the other two. If I dropped in an in view, or viewing in along my x-axis and drew my in view up here, well, I'd see a true shape of that one plane I haven't yet seen a true shape of, the red one. I'd see a true shape of that red in vertical plane, and I'd see an edge view of, well, because it's an elevation, you're seeing an edge view of the floor anyway, first of all, the horizontal, and I'd also see an edge view of this green plane right now that I'm shading in, the vertical plane. So this topic is a collection of elevations and plans, and in every elevation and plan in this topic, just like in normal orthographic projection, we'll see planes as true shapes and we'll see planes as edge views. So it is just a different structure to the usual orthographic that we're used to seeing. Now, I have my object down in plan and I have my object up in an elevation, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed all of the points from plan and all of the points from elevation, and where the corresponding points cross will give me points on my 3D object, or my 3D view of the object. I'm going to start off with the top surface of the whole thing. Top surface is shown here in the plan, so it's that narrower surface here in plan, and the next thing I need to do is I need to just figure out, can I see it in the elevation? The reason I'm starting with the top surface, you know, I suppose we have a habit of building from the ground up, which is grand, but if you start at the top surface and work your way down, for some of the more difficult drawings, you'll figure out along the way what should be overcast and overshadowing something else and what should not. We don't need to include hidden detail in these drawings usually. So I find if you start at the top and work your way down, at least you won't be doing unnecessary work. You won't be adding in loads of detail and then figuring out after that you didn't need to do it because there's some cover or some canopy or something overhanging it. That top surface right there is between the 10 and the 55, and it's up at the highest point. So if I go up to the highest point between the 10 and the 55, but I can only see it here as an edge view. So if I just highlight the line, there's the line now that I'm going to be bringing down, and here's the full surface that I'm going to be bringing up from plan. To help me here and to just speed things up for the video a little bit, I'm going to, I'm not sure, I don't need to, what am I doing? It's all 30 degrees of course, and I'm thinking of the more difficult drawings. What I'll do is I'll project all 4 points up from plan first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I projected vertical because the y-axis is vertical. So when I'm projecting up from plan, I project parallel to the y-axis. When I'm projecting back down from my elevation here, I'm going to project parallel to the z-axis. You project parallel to the axis you projected along at the beginning. So if I worked along the z-axis, I need to come back down parallel. I can't just come straight across or anything. I need to come parallel to the z-axis. So let's just get that much done. I'll take the top of the object down. I'll take the back of it down. Now, what do I have? So at the right hand side of the object I have this, and at the right hand side I have these two guys. So where they all line up is here and here. At the left hand side I have this, and at the left hand side I have these two, which means here and here. What we should find is that if we're being accurate here, sorry, no, am I being accurate here? I am not, because I just picked the wrong point, which should be there instead. So I just traced up the wrong point there by mistake. Yeah, that's all fine now. What we should find is that these line up at 30 degrees. So the top surface is here, and it's here. I'm coming out along here. There. That's the top surface of the object. That's the purple surface there that we have in plan, and that we can see as an edge view up there in elevation. So if I start with that one, I just start working my way down along. At both sides of that object, we have a vertical surface. Just get this guy shaded in, and we'll start working our way down there. Now, at both sides of that object, we have a vertical surface. Where is it? Well, the vertical surface, if I just go with the one here, where it drops straight down like that, I can't really see it down in plan either. It's just an edge view there. And there's going to be one here at the back as well, the left hand side, closer to the red plane, to the wall. Here. I definitely won't be able to see that now, it's at the back of the object, but let's just project and see what we get anyway. From plan, it just lies directly under the two corners of the purple surface, so it just drops straight down, and in the elevation it goes down that far, so I'm going to project it. And there we go, we go down that far. There's our orange surface right there. Now, what can I see on the back area? Well, I think if we can start visualizing it already, we'll realize that you can't actually see the whole surface of it, but you can see where it drops down here. And I could do it two ways. I could just bring it straight back from here, which is fine. Or if I wanted to just verify that everything is going right for me, I could just project it along and make sure it all lines up, which is pretty close there for me. Drop that down, and there we have it. That's the back surface. Can't see anything else about it. I know that it's orange. It's orange there along the back, but I'm not able to see anything else. Next, I'm going to add in this yellow surface here, the slope surface to the front. And I will see it in plan, no problem. Whereas in elevation, it's along there. There's also one to the back. And again, I don't expect I'll be able to see anything about this surface here, but we'll see anyway. We'll work with that one in a minute. I'm going to work with my front one first. Project it up from the plan, project it down from the elevation. Now, where do our lines match up? One is here, and one is here. Is that correct? Just to verify, these drawings get busy, so make sure you're checking everything to make sure that you are lining up with the correct points, and that should be the point. So, angles don't matter. This was a 45-degree angle. When we look at the object in 3D, the angles can change, so we plot the points and you join the points, and that's it. Once you've been plotted out, you join the dots. So there's the yellow surface here, the one out near us. Now, what have we got at the back of the object? We have this one here is in the back corner. It's going to be completely covered by the object, so I won't be able to see that. And what you'll find as well is that it tends to just line up with the same projection along. Now I'd like to just verify again, so I'm going to just take it back and join the dots. Now that's all I can see, nothing else visible here. That is the yellow surface, just, and I can only see that one leading edge of it. Next, we're going to work all the way down along this brown surface here. And where is that? That's just the outer edge right here is all we can see in plan. And we have this back edge here as well, if I just want to correspond the colours there. So I've already projected these because it leads straight off the yellow surface, so it's directly under the yellow surface, so it leads off the same two corners. I'm just going to project it down from the elevation. And make sure I'm going to the right one. There. And there. Now, there's the brown surface on one side, and on the other side, it goes all the way down from the yellow down to here. And there we are. And again, we can only see the one external line of it, we can't see anything else over there. So, let's put that highlight around it. Next, we're going to step in and down. In and down. What does that look like? Well, it's a 10mm step in, so this time it's going to line up with the purple surface. That's the way they line up. So I can project down from the purple surface, or you know, up from here and plan again, but look, the projection is already there. I could project down from here as well if I wanted, but again, this time we need to be kind of looking at the links here. That's going to go in until it lines up. This one is going to come in until it lines up. Okay. The very bottom of this drawing, where it sits on the ground, is here and is here. So we'll drop down until we hit the ground. And there we go. I'm getting fairly limited in colour here now, so I'm going to go and use my H pencil just to add a really quick little bit of shade around this main surface here. And that main surface is only seen, it's seen as a true shape here in the view I'm shading in right now in this elevation. It's seen as an edge view in plan, and then it's projected as we just did. We've built it up using all of the surrounding surfaces here in the axonometric. There, and in the plan it's just along here, so nothing else to add there. Might just to really cover in this, I don't want to be really looking at the axonometric plane now, I just want to see the surface. So there it is, completely covered in the front surface. Now the only extras that's in here now, there's only one little thing missing, and I suppose towards the end of one of these drawings you always have to be looking, is there something missing? Is there a hole in the object? Is there a passageway underneath something? Is it a bridge, an arch or something? Is there any line missing on my axonometric that if this was a real object that I should be able to see? And in this case there's just one line, so it's only one line that's missing, but like looking at this drawing, to me it just looks so unfinished without this last detail, and the last detail is here. There's that one final surface right there. which is that vertical little section of the bin, which is here. Now there is a corresponding one on this side, but again we can't see it, it's the back of the object. The last thing I'd like to include here, now that the drawing is as good as finished, I'd like to just go ahead and maybe include my planes. So there, as I said at the very beginning, the right side is the VP. The left side wall here is the EVP. And try and just get around that one there. On the ground there is the HP. I'm going to pause the video for just a couple of moments. I'm going to just add a little bit of colour into all three planes and have a quick chat in through the very last part of this drawing. So finally, when the whole thing is all coloured in, the colour of all the planes added, I think it maybe helps with the understanding of the topic really. When you see that the object is sitting there on the horizontal plane, referencing with the horizontal plane here in plan, you can see that as you view down along the y-axis, that the green wall on your right and the red wall on your left just become two edge views down in plan, and the blue floor becomes a true shape. Everything you see in a normal plan, in orthographic, you can see in this plan here. It's just that the orientation of the views change. When you view up along the z-axis here, so that was the y there to start. When you view up along the z-axis, you have to imagine yourself, you're standing there, well, the ground is underneath the object and the red wall is on the left, so you have the ground, the horizontal plane underneath, with the red wall standing at the left, and a true shape of everything on the vertical plane, and there it is. And then you have your view as an elevation projected there, brought back down, brought up from plan, 3D view in the center. So axonometric projection, without overcomplicating it, it is a method of producing a 2D view and a second or a third 2D view, or any combination of the three, and then projecting back to form your 3D view of the object. I hope this video helps, and thanks very much for watching.